I don't know whose idea it was to say, let's gather a bunch of high school students in the dead of winter in congested cities at the height of cold and flu season and ask them to sing really well. Like, I don't know how we ended up here, but this is where we're at. But the more you can do to ensure that your voice and your body is as well as it can be with the variables you can control, that is always in your favor.
Looking to pursue musical theater in college? We know the thrill of saying yes to that dream and the overwhelm that comes with pre-screens, auditions, applications, and more. There's no single path to the right program or to standing out in the audition room. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Julie Kavanagh, Program Director of BVC Aspire. As an actor and an arts educator, I've spent the past 10 years helping students and families navigate pre-screens, auditions, and everything in between. Whether you're just starting to explore or gearing up for the final stretch, Aspire is here to help you navigate this roller coaster with clarity, confidence, and a little fun along the way. Welcome to the Aspire Guide to Musical Theater College Auditions, where we dive into the roller coaster ride of those musical theater college auditions. Our mission is simple: to help you find a program that values your worth and allows you to thrive.
Hello, everyone. We are so excited because today we have the amazing Chelsea Wilson with us. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Chelsea, so much for being with us today. Chelsea Wilson is a voice teacher and coach specializing in musical theater performance. She is a graduate of the University of Michigan's Musical Theater BFA program and uses her expertise to support her students all over the world, from Broadway stars to amateur singers. In 2017, she began working as the associate vocal coach on the Broadway production of School of Rock and later The Phantom of the Opera. She's currently the associate vocal coach for Masquerade, the new immersive Phantom production in New York City. In 2021, she co-founded Broadway Vocal Coach, an online training platform and podcast for professional and aspiring musical theater performers who want to take the next step in their careers. Chelsea is a certified vocal instructor through Institute for Vocal Advancement, where she now has the pleasure of training other voice teachers. She's a wife and mom to 2 daughters, and she lives in North Carolina. Chelsea, you are remarkable.
Oh, thank you. It's so nice when you put all my nice credits right back to back like that.
Well, they are nice and fantastic credits, and it is so great to see you too because Chelsea is an old friend. We first met many moons ago in a New York City book club.
Sure did.
Sure did. I have not been in a book club since then.
Yeah.
Gotta get back to it.
Yes. My neighborhood, we have like a gaggle of women in my neighborhood who I am really loving, and I think we're starting a book club. So this may be my second book club since the New York City Ladies Book Club. So things are happening.
Yes. And it will be interesting to see the ratio of book reading to gathering that chit-chat happens. Well, speaking of chit-chat, I am so excited to chat with you about this topic today. We're going to talk about how to navigate your voice during busy college musical theater audition season. Because we all know that feeling of waking up exhausted, of navigating nerves, of navigating changing weather and colds and sickness, etc. And that becomes really challenging during busy college audition season.
Yes.
So, Chelsea, you've worked with so many performers at every level. Why is vocal health especially critical during the college audition season?
Well, first off, audition season is a marathon, not a sprint. You know, you might have those college auditions scheduled for 3 weekends, 4 weekends between January and February. But that preparation, the mental preparation, the physical preparation starts well before that. So it is a marathon to get you through this season, not a sprint. And I believe that vocal health is the foundation for showing up at your best. Vocal health as an extension of your physical health. I think one of the challenges about college audition season particularly is the time of year in which it takes place. I don't know whose idea it was to say, let's gather a bunch of high school students in the dead of winter in congested cities at the height of cold and flu season and ask them to sing really well. Like, I don't know how we ended up here, but this is where we're at. And it is a challenge for all those factors we just mentioned. You're likely traveling, that is uniquely demanding. You're having to perform multiple things, multiple songs, multiple monologues. You're having to show up and dance. Like, you're dealing with winter germs. And it may be at this point in your life the highest stakes of an audition that you've ever felt. So layer that on top of the existing challenges. And so I really think that vocal health here is the foundation through which your artistry can shine. We're going to talk about how to manage that and what to do when inevitably you're not at your best and your voice isn't there for you. Physically, you're just a little under the weather. But the more you can do to ensure that your voice and your body is as well as it can be with the variables you can control, that is always in your favor.
Chelsea, you put that so beautifully and have talked about all of these challenges that seniors face. Are there any other things that high school seniors might be facing when they go into this very busy time?
All of those things we just mentioned, but I think the thing that can't be understated or really possibly even understood until you're in it is the nerves and the adrenaline, that feeling of I've got to perform my peak performance at a time when you may honestly be under the weather, just kind of chronically under the weather in January and February, or you're chronically tired. You're doing a lot of things during this particular time. And so that pressure, the added pressure of this is such an important audition, I want to show up and be my best, I think can really debilitate students if they're not mentally and physically prepared for that possibility, the possibility of feeling that pressure. The other thing I'd say too, which I've already alluded to, is there's only so many factors that you can control. There are a lot of variables when it comes to audition season, and this is audition season for the college prep time or the college audition time, but literally any audition season that you find yourself in for the rest of your career, there's a lot of factors here. And there's only so many that you are in direct control of. Things like your sleep, your nutrition, hydration, what you're putting into your body, what you're putting into your mind, your mindset, the self-talk, the input, the stimulation, and preparation. Preparation being key, whether that's vocal prep, whether that's warming up your voice, whether that's how well you know your material and feel confident in that, how well you have logistically planned all the Jenga puzzle pieces to traveling to Unifieds and handling your schedule, etc. Those are just a handful of some of the challenges that you're going to face when it comes to college audition season.
And I love how you talk about challenges and also these variables, that there are just things that you can't control. And going back to how can those nerves physically impact a singer's voice?
It can be huge. It can be huge. So remember that nerves are normal. Even pros experience nerves. We are all dealing with them. I hate to say it, but like even now, we're still figuring out how we perform with and sing with nerves. So that's totally okay. And again, anticipating that you may feel nervous is hugely important, I believe. So again, how do we plan for it? Knowing that I'm going to feel nervous in this. But nerves and anxiety really affect the voice and the body physically. For me, when I get nervous, my breath tends to get really shallow. That makes taking a nice, relaxed, easy breath for singing difficult. My jaw, oh man, when I'm anxious, I just clench my jaw and grind my teeth, and I have to remind myself, like, unclench your jaw, Chelsea, like, oh, it's physically exhausting. And you may experience things like dry mouth, and therefore your whole singing cavity will start, your mouth, throat will start to feel dry. These are physical sensations that come up as a sign of some of that normal anxiety that comes around performance nerves.
To navigate those feelings and to navigate those physical reactions that may happen, what are some strategies that you recommend to manage those pre-audition jitters to set yourself up for success for when they may inevitably happen in the audition room?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that we can think about it, like in the longer term, like what are we doing in the days and even weeks leading up to this to lessen your nerves and anxiety and the physical sensations that may surround that? And what are we doing immediately before? Like what's happening in the 10 minutes before you walk into the audition room? So let's talk about both of those. A few things ahead of time. Acknowledge that you're going to feel nervous and come up with a plan ahead of time with your coach, with your voice teacher, of how you're going to handle this the day of and even the moments before. So that's number one. In the weeks prior, well in advance, understand and come up with a plan of what you're going to do ahead of time. That's number one. Number two is you're just going to want to have some basic vocal health and hygiene things going on. We can get into this more, Julie, if you'd like, but thinking about how well hydrated am I going to be ahead of time? How much sleep am I going to get ahead of time? Something that will really exacerbate your nerves is if you're exhausted, physically exhausted, perhaps if you're over caffeinated to deal with the exhaustion, right? Then everything feels on edge. What that like mental input is. How much have you been scrolling on Instagram that day? And is your brain scattered, or are you focused and present? Like, how have you made choices to be present in the room? So there's a few things too that I would recommend as part of this plan ahead of time to handle these nerves and to ground yourself before going into the audition. And there's a lot of ways to do this. Here are a few suggestions, a few things you might try and see if they work for you. Maybe if you have like a high school audition or a community theater audition coming up in the weeks and months before college auditions, use these techniques, see if they work for you. Don't let the first time you do a breathing meditation exercise be in the 5 minutes before you go in for your college audition. Give yourself every opportunity to see what works for you and what you want to keep as part of your pre-audition practice. So something that I love, I kind of combo this. It's like a breathing exercise and an affirmation exercise. I did this recently. I was just performing in a concert, and of course I was nervous. So I just took a moment in a quiet green room to do this exact exercise not that long ago. What you're going to do is you're going to breathe deeply and pinch or squeeze each one of your fingertips. Okay, very slowly. So you're going to pair every pinch or gentle squeeze of your fingertip with a breath in and breath out and an affirmation. So think of these ahead of time and put them in the present tense. So affirmations for me that I love are things like breath in, I am calm. Okay, next finger, pinch and squeeze. The reminder, be present in this moment. I'm physically feeling a pinch and a squeeze on my finger, helps keep me in the present moment. Breath in, I am confident. Next one, I am clear in my communication. I am alive. I am energetic. I am peaceful. I am creative. I am communicative, etc., etc., etc. This could be whatever you want, but it's a way to pick 10 affirmations and have 10 deep breaths and 10 kind of grounding moments where you're physically brought into this moment in time to get you ready. So that's something that I absolutely love as a pre-audition room grounding exercise. You could do a whole bunch of other things that work for you. You could do box breathing, breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4, breathe in for 6, breathe out for 6. You could have a pre-audition playlist that you love to listen to, pop your headphones in, cancel out all the noise and the bustle and the people around you, go find a quiet room. This is what I did during my college auditions, Julie. I actually remember this oh so well. And my pre-audition song that I listened to was So Much Better from Legally Blonde. I would listen to So Much Better before every audition. I was like, yes, I am so much better than before. It was like my pump up jam, and it really worked for me. Another thing that I love and recommend is do some power poses. Do a quick Google search, YouTube, if you want to learn more about power poses. There's science-backed research that shows that doing a power pose, like a big star pose, putting your arms up high in the air, legs spread in a big X, or hands on your hips like a Wonder Woman pose, and holding that for 10, 30, 60 seconds, physically sends signals to your body that I am strong, I am powerful, I'm in control at this moment, as opposed to feeling shrunken in, nervous, shoulders hunched. Open up your body, open up your mind. So those are a handful of things I would say. Practice them in slightly stressful moments that you have coming up and come up with your own pre-audition routine. Pick 1 or 2 of these things that I just said that signal to your brain and your body, I'm going in, my voice is relaxed, I am in control of my body, this anxiety, these nerves are not in control of me.
Chelsea, I am so excited to take the grounding and affirmation technique with the breath work because I was doing it right alongside with you, and I can't wait to implement that into my own life because, yes, we all deal with nerves. And it's even the
Yes.
simplest thing of, you're talking about these power poses. And so often, right, you're going to have your music binder with you. And it's so easy to like hold that as a crutch
Clutch.
and as a
Yes.
clutch. And what that does immediately is it closes you off. It shrinks
Yeah.
you in. So, pairing that with, hey, instead of holding your music binder in front of you like a little security blanket, put it down to the side or find
Mm.
an alternate place. All of these tips and tricks are so wonderful and important to, like you said, not only practice, but also to stick to them. Once
Hmm.
you've found them, stick to them because those auditions are going to be bubbling and bustling with lots
Hmm.
of people. And it can feel very easy to want to talk to your neighbor, or your neighbor might want to talk to you. And it is okay to acknowledge and say, hey, nice to meet you. I'm just getting myself ready to go, and take
Yep.
ownership of what you need in that moment too.
100%.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about schedules,
Mm.
exhaustion, and busy schedules, because these students going into this college audition process, they're not just auditioning. They're juggling
Right.
school, rehearsals, travels, and more.
Yep.
How does exhaustion show up in the voice?
Well, the voice is the first thing to go. The morning voice is such a real thing. We wake up after a short night of sleep, or like days and days, weeks and weeks of short nights of sleep and not enough hydration. And the first place you feel it is your voice. Now, there are ways to overcome that. We're all going to have to sing on days when we wish we could have gotten more sleep. There are ways we can warm up and, steam, nebulize, do certain things to get things going again. But gosh, this is again a preventative thing. If you can really plan and prioritize rest and sleep in the weeks leading up to audition season, you're going to be so grateful, so grateful. Give yourself that gift of planning and prioritize that. Yes.
In those moments when, let's say, you have an early flight the day
Mm-hmm.
you have to fly in, and those are things that you might not be able to have that, same type of rest you may want, or you're moving from audition to audition. What are some practical things that you would recommend students do and that they can do to preserve vocal stamina during those long audition weekends?
Yes. So again, let's go back to what are you doing in the weeks and months that's preparing you for this marathon, and what are you doing day up? So in the weeks and months prior, be in voice lessons, be in regular technique-focused voice lessons. Or if voice lessons aren't an option, which I understand, voice lessons can be expensive, they require scheduling, all those things, be in some kind of regular vocal technique practice. That can be singing along with an old voice lesson that you have recorded, or working through course material, an online course, or an MP3 recording that guides you through a certain vocal technical exercise, something that is getting your voice in shape. Pair that with singing through your material and get yourself to a place where your vocal stamina is pretty strong. Taylor Swift sang for 3 hours on a treadmill prepping for the Eras tour. That's not crazy when it comes to thinking about how will I set myself up to be able to sing even in dire conditions when I am tired, when I'm physically exhausted, when I just came out of the dance call that happened 20 minutes prior and my singing audition was scheduled for immediately after. That's going to happen. So think about that ahead of time. What am I doing to build up my technical stamina, my vocal technique in the weeks and months ahead of time? You need weeks and months to do that. You're not going to overhaul your vocal technique in a week or a day. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Now, what do we do on day of or day before when you had an early flight? It's been a busy day. We didn't get as much rest as we needed. Plan and prioritize coming up with your warm-up ritual. First thing in the morning, like more lengthy warm-up routine, and then what's my 2 minutes, 15 minutes before I go into the room, little reset or check-in with my voice. If you're working with a voice teacher, working with a coach, I would ask them to help you devise like a 15-minute-ish warm-up routine that's suited for your voice and your particular needs that you can record in your lesson with minimal talking. Be like, listen, don't give me a lot of adjustments or directions. Like, I need to have a clean recording that I can take with me and use in my hotel room, right? So take some of the guesswork out of what to do in terms of your warm-up. You might want to incorporate in that warm-up routine doing some kind of an SOVT exercise, semi-occluded vocal tract exercise. It's things like a lip bubble or straw work, vocalizing through a straw. Those are really great exercises to get the voice going, especially on days when we're a little under the weather or perhaps a little bit tired, need a little bit more of a runway to get the voice going. I have an awesome warm-up series that we can link in this episode that is a 10-minute vocal warm-up. I have 3 different versions for mixing, singing legit, and belting. So you could kind of tailor your warm-up and your workout for whatever you needed to do that day. We also have here on Broadway Vocal Coach, there's a free 10-minute mix voice little mini lesson. We'll link to that as well. So you can get that for totally free. It's a great place to start. If you want something a little bit more specific, check out my warm-up series on my website. How do I know for myself personally, how much of a warm-up, how much of a workout does my voice need to feel ready to go? I always suggest, these days may be long and this may be challenging, but if you have a 10 a.m. singing call, you need to be up at 7. You've got to have several hours of getting that voice ready to go. I wouldn't wake up at 9 a.m. and say, yep, I'm going to be warm and ready to go to sing at 10. Like, really give yourself a couple hours. So figure out ahead of time what that warm-up routine looks like. Last thing I'll say about this, as I'm waxing poetic about warm-ups, because can you tell I'm passionate about it? If you have a long day ahead of you, say your first singing appointment of the day isn't till 4 p.m., I would still do that lengthy warm-up in the morning and then give yourself like a 2 to 5 minute just check-in, reset in the few minutes before you're going to go in to sing. Your body will be warm. You will have been using your voice that day. You don't need to reinvent the wheel and go back and do 30 minutes of singing right before your audition. That actually may tire you out. Do 2 minutes of straw work, do a couple lip bubbles, whatever you need to just get into the right vocal placement, go in and do your best.
I love that you mentioned the straw, Chelsea, because that is my go-to with vocal fatigue is I have a straw in my backpack.
Yes.
And bring that out to recenter. And it's these tips are so great. So with all of these elements, we've talked about nerves, we've talked about exhaustion. Another factor, because like you were saying earlier, what a brilliant idea to put tons of busy high school kids in the same space in the wintertime when there are colds and there are sniffles and tickles and all of the above. Dry hotels, winter travel. You may be from Florida and all of a sudden you're smack dab in the middle of New York City in a hotel room with, dry heat pumping on in. What are some of those common vocal issues that you may see when students and young people are facing those factors?
Oh, you nailed it, especially folks traveling from different climates to what is usually a very cold climate in January and February. If they're going to unified auditions or whatnot, or traveling to schools in the Midwest. Wow. That was my experience. I was coming from like warm and sunny southern Utah where like it's 50 degrees in February. It's like desert weather, so hot. And I remember showing up to Ann Arbor to audition on campus. It was like one of the few schools I auditioned on campus. And it was like the worst winter they'd had in a decade. I was dealing with snow. I mean, it was just like, I couldn't have anticipated it. So I feel you on this. But yeah, it's really anticipating what travel and a different climate or very cold weather might be doing for you. So there are definitely a few things that you're going to want to pack in your vocal health kit to stay prepared in these situations. The other thing I will say, this is the theme of the episode, don't decide the day before what you're going to use or what might be useful. Like, figure out ahead of time what is the combo of vocal health, vocal hygiene tools that are useful for you. If you, for example, are experiencing a ton of congestion and you are like, I've got to take an antihistamine, like I've got to take something to help me, deal with this congestion, this perhaps allergies or just like the dust, right? Whatever it is. You don't want the first time that you're taking this particular decongestant to be the day before your college audition. Like, truly, if you feel the sniffles come up in the months or weeks prior, try the combo of over-the-counter medication or the combo of steaming, nasal rinse, etc. What is the right thing for you? There is no one size fits all here, so please take everything we're suggesting as ideas, figure it out, figure out what feels best for you. A couple things that I think are so useful to have in your vocal health kit. For me personally, I can't go anywhere at any time of year without a sinus rinse, like a neti pot, a nasal rinse.
The cup.
Yeah, a squeeze bottle.
spout?
It's like a squeeze bottle. That's
bottle,
it.
yeah.
Yes, thank
There's
you.
also the one that looks like a tiny
like,
teapot.
A teapot.
I've had
Yes.
the teapot before, and it looks like this tiny little teapot, not for a cup
Yeah.
of tea, but it is indeed for your
No.
nose.
Indeed, for clearing out your nose. But yes, I cannot travel without that. I use a saline spray. I always have this saline spray. I feel like it clears out allergens, helps keep my nose feeling hydrated, a little moist, not too dry. That's huge for me. Other things I would suggest, if there's a steamer that you love, a portable steamer, take that with you. A nebulizer. A nebulizer is something you can use right before you go in to sing. It's small. It's going to deliver moisture more directly to your vocal folds, and steam is something you're going to want to do in the hours before and after singing, not right immediately before. And that is a bit more of like a systemic hydration situation. It's not like those bigger water molecules are not touching your vocal folds. If they were, then you would drown. We never want water touching your vocal folds. That's not the idea. So anyways, think about whether steaming or even just knowing that if I take a hot shower in the hotel that morning, if that's good enough, great, awesome. Then you don't need a personal steamer. But if that's something that you already use and like to, pack it, bring it. Those are things I would say 100%. Add in some lozenges, especially if you're feeling dry right before, just want to deliver a little layer of feeling of hydration or smoothness in your throat. Some kind of lozenge to have in your bag ready to go. Keep it simple and keep it to things that you have used before, not something you're going to try for the first time.
Yeah, it's not the time to test out something new. You never want to take that chance. Put all the factors in your control when there's so many variables outside of it. Okay, but if you wake up morning of your audition, your throat's feeling sore, congestion, what do? Do you push through, adjust, reset? Those are potential things that may happen during this time of year. And what do you suggest, to do?
Yeah, and there may be a chance where you're like, listen, I'm full out sick. Like there's no amount of steaming and gentle warming up that is going to get my voice and body in a place where I feel like I can deliver not even just my best, but like a 50% their situation. So let's talk about that as well. I'm curious what you would suggest in that situation, Julie. But I would say if you wake up and you're like, I'm under the weather, but listen, I know I can still do this, and you can. I think it's the very rare occurrence where it's like you got nothing in the tank. Yeah. You are there to show your potential. You are there to show that you can make choices, that you can deal with difficult circumstances, that you can still tell a story, even if your voice isn't 100%. The people behind the table have been watching auditions for years and years and years. They can tell if you're not 100% vocally, and it's okay. Just know that. No one is expecting that you are going to be in top vocal condition given all of these circumstances. It's going to be okay. If you feel like you can still deliver your storytelling and communicate how you want to communicate, then I'd say warm up gently. Wake up a little bit early so you've got time to do that warm up, so you've got time to do a hot shower, so you've got time to have, get a nice hot tea that you're carrying around with you in your thermos, warm up your body, and trust the preparation that you have done. Auditions are looking at potential, not perfection. Now, in the case that even though maybe in the days prior, before you even travel, you're like, I have laryngitis. I am down for the count. Like I can't travel. I can't do this. Call the school, see if there's an opportunity to reschedule, perhaps do a Zoom audition, see what your options are. But the sooner you can communicate with the school and the admissions office, the better.
In those extenuating circumstances, exactly what you said, Chelsea, the days leading up, if you know, hey, I am really ill, a laryngitis, something that you're not going to be able to function or travel or safely travel or bring into a space with other people and get other people very sick, reach out as soon as possible to the admissions teams to see what those options are. Communication is key. What you said about remembering that schools are looking for potential is so important. And what's also so important to take into the audition room is to not apologize for when you're not feeling at your best.
Absolutely that.
There can be a need, and I've felt it myself, that need of a feeling to have to make excuses after the audition. I'm so sorry. I'm just so tired and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't apologize.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest things in that moment, because also it's possible that they would have no idea.
Yes.
I've been in so many scenarios working with a student who afterwards said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was feeling sick." And then I've said, "I wouldn't have known." So
Yes.
there's no need to apologize, to feel at the mercy of others. So trust in your preparation. Trust in that you have done the work ahead of time. Again, it all goes back to set yourself up for success ahead of time. Know that things may happen. Your voice may crack. It happens to the best of us. It happens in an audition room. It happens on a stage. The world is not going to end.
100%.
The world's not going to end.
Yeah.
So
And back to that, like that preparation too, Julia. Don't choose audition material that is going to require perfect voice stays to deliver. Pick audition material that you know, listen, I can sing this on a 70% day. I can even get this and still do well on a 60% vocal day. Do not pick 100% pristine vocal cord days material. It's not in your best interest. And honestly, doesn't matter. We're here to tell a story. We're here to hear your voice, understand who you are as an artist, hear that you can carry a tune and have a lovely tone of voice, that you've got some techniques, some things under your belt. But we're not looking for vocal gymnastics in these college auditions. So set yourself up well 6 months ago with that piece of advice.
1,000%. Oh my gosh, Chelsea. Can say it all day, can say it all day long. Okay, so we've talked so much about all of these elements to navigate. What are some myths about vocal health that you wish students and their parents would stop believing?
Number one, if you need to take some vocal rest, if you need to be like, okay, I gotta be quiet today, I've gotta rest my voice, whispering is not restful. In fact, whispering will actually dry out and wear out your voice more than just speaking at a quiet volume. So cut whispering out. Whispering does not count as a vocal rest. Another myth, a certain tea or a certain singing spray or whatever is going to fix your voice. It is going to fix what's going on. They won't. Remember again, teas, sprays, they don't touch your vocal cords. And if they did, you would be drowning and coughing. So absolutely not. They might soothe your throat and feel nice. I'm a big fan of a hot tea with honey in the wintertime. Absolutely. But they're not going to replace vocal technique and functional balance. It's not a magic potion. Another myth, you need a massive 45-minute vocal warm-up to be ready to sing. You don't. It's not true. And again, you know your voice better than anyone else. I know some people who do need closer to like 20, 30 minutes of singing to really be in performance condition. I know other people who are like, I can do 5 minutes of X, Y, and Z and I'm ready to go. It's just different voices, different bodies. Know what you need and do just enough. Don't wear yourself out on audition days. Another myth, certain foods are ones to avoid. People and voice teachers for millennia say avoid dairy. Again, some people, dairy is going to lead to inflammation or reflux or gunk up their throat in ways that they don't like. Other people, not affected whatsoever. So just know what it is diet-wise that might lead to some reflux. Maybe you do want to avoid spicy foods the night before so you're not dealing with any surprise reflux. And maybe dairy is something you're sensitive to. But again, it's personal. And it's something you need to decide for yourself what's going to work best. There's no one size fits all here with diet or, certain things to avoid.
Chelsea, another myth that I have seen and I have actually have navigated through my own vocal health journey for years is that feeling of if you are dealing with vocal fatigue or vocal health issues during a very busy time, that you are not a trained or good singer. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I'm so glad you framed that as a myth because you're exactly right. That is a myth. Even the most trained singers and folks with the most solid technique and the folks who are actually doing such a good job of caring for themselves still experience vocal fatigue, still experience the physical fatigue of a show schedule or an audition schedule, and still have vocal health challenges and even vocal injuries. People at the top of their game experience vocal injuries, and that is because singers are vocal athletes. We would never look at a football player in the NFL who is running down the field. I almost said court. Like, I can't even make this analogy. That's how few sports things I know. We would never look at that athlete who's running, trips and sprains his ankle and say, oh man, poor technique, didn't train well. Like, no, just like accidents happen. And also when you're performing at a peak level and in high intensity situations like these important auditions, you are going to experience fatigue. You're going to experience tiredness. I see this with the professional singers I work with all the time. This is not uncommon. It is not shameful. It is not embarrassing to admit that you may be a little under the weather or you're just physically and vocally exhausted from the level of singing and work and speaking that you're having to do at this time in your life. You are a worthy artist, whether you're experiencing vocal health challenges or not. Anticipate that you will, and then you're going to not feel so bad about it when it inevitably happens.
Chelsea, I wish I would have had someone tell me this when I was 17, 18 years old going into college.
Same. Yes.
Yeah, it was never talked about. So thank you so much for adding that into this collection of myths and things that are really important for students and parents to really stop believing. Chelsea, you mentioned some wonderful resources that you have for vocal warm-ups that are available. Can you point us again to, and we'll make sure to pop that link in the comments, but those warm-ups and any other quick, efficient things that you'd recommend for students to utilize when going into their college auditions?
Yeah, I would say if you're not already doing some kind of straw phonation or SOVT work that you like and are comfortable with, look into that either with your voice teacher, or we've got resources that we'll link here as well to look into that. That's such an easy way to get your voice going. Vocalizing through a straw, whether that's a tiny little singing straw, a set of singing straws with a really small diameter, or whether that's a bigger straw and you're blowing bubbles into a cup of water while you're vocalizing. They're so helpful. I would just say get yourself either with your voice teacher, or if you want to purchase a copy of my warm-up series, or get that free 10-minute mix warm-up that we have here on the Broadway Vocal Coach website. Get yourself something that you know is tried and true for you and is going to get you feeling your best. Figure out what that is ahead of time. And we've got plenty of resources for you. We'll link them below. The Chelsea Wilson Vocal Studio warm-up series, the Broadway Vocal Coach 10-minute mix voice mini lesson.
So many wonderful things to have and put into your toolbox to quickly pull out and use.
Yes.
So Chelsea, at the end of the day, audition season can be unbelievably overwhelming. And these college auditions are that. It is a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
What is your biggest piece of advice to help students trust their training and keep their voices at their best?
Yes. Keep everything in perspective. Auditions are one step in your artistic journey, in your process, and it is not the end-all be-all of your artistic career. It's just not. It is just one step along the path. Some of my biggest advice is trust your preparation. Then when you're there in the moment, focus on connection. Connect with the people in the room. Connect with yourself right prior. Like, go in and feel like you can be present in the room and be an integrated version of yourself instead of a heightened performance version of yourself. So focus on connection. And then just remember after the fact that perfection is never the goal. If you go in and you, quote, blow it, you probably didn't blow it as much as you think you did, first off. Just know perfection is never the goal. It is showing yourself, showing your artistry, showing your point of view, and being a human being that they can connect with in the room. Do you want to spend 4 years with the people that you're auditioning with? And do they want to spend the next 4 years with you? That's what it comes down to more than anything else. It's connecting with your humanity, connecting with your artistry, connecting with your curiosity and your commitment to living a creative life. That's what they're looking for in these rooms. So I would say, remember that one audition is not going to define your whole audition season. It's about finding consistency across the season. You're going to go to dozens of these auditions, and you can be consistent across all of them. Not one is going to make or break your college audition experience. You've got this. Trust in the preparation that you've done.
Chelsea, you put it so succinctly and clearly to trust in your prep. Don't fret if it's not perfect. There's no perfect. There's no perfection. There's always just possibility to keep that curiosity up. Thank you so very much for sharing your wisdom, your advice with us today. I'm so excited for this crew who is going to be auditioning this season and the crew who's going to be auditioning next year and beyond, be able to hear these wonderful tips and tricks to help guide them through this roller coaster ride of a season. And remember, it's all about your humanity, who you are as a person, and that it's going to be okay because you got this. You got it.
Okay, you've got this.
And thank you all for listening and viewing, and we cannot wait to catch y'all next time.